Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Today I have 101's very own Head of Partnerships, Tony April. Welcome, Tony. And today we are looking at red flags, green flags, and Copilot. Is your SharePoint the one? Take it away, Tony.
Thank you, Natasha. Good morning to everyone. And today, as Natasha was saying, I want to talk about something we rarely discuss openly. It's our relationship with PowerPoint, and SharePoint. Sorry. So yes, it is a relationship because many of us, SharePoint isn't just a tool; it's a partner. A partner we depend on every single day to store our documents, support our workflows, and help us collaborate. But just like any relationship, sometimes there are green flags, sometimes there are big, flashing, unavoidable red flags. So today's webinar, the question is simple. Is your SharePoint the one? Or is it the one causing you problems? And uh, let's say, even more importantly, can Copilot fix that relationship, or will Copilot simply expose the issues hiding underneath? So, with this webinar, let's explore that together. So, first, let's go for the green flags. So, the signs of a healthy, supportive, well built SharePoint environment. So, what does it need? A good SharePoint gives you clarity, it gives you structure, and it gives you trust. Now, if your sites are well organized, if your permissions make sense, if people can find what they're looking for, if Teams and SharePoint are aligned, meaning no go sites, no duplicate libraries, and of course, if users actually trust the system, congratulations. You are in a stable relationship with SharePoint, and you've got yourself a green flag partner. But as we mentioned before, but what about the red flags? Let's be honest, this is where most organizations, businesses start to get uncomfortable. A red flag SharePoint leaves you confused, frustrated, maybe even a little bit betrayed. So, what does it look like? So, a red flag SharePoint is full of things like documents stored in one giant overflowing library, permissions that look like a crime scene, folders inside folders, to the point where even metadata is treated like a myth. Team sprawl that gets out of control, sites with no purpose, no owner, no life, and of course, the classic file, the folder of all, the really final version 7 of the file. So does that sound familiar? So if that does, that is definitely a red flag. But here's the truth. If SharePoint is already chaotic, keep in mind, Copilot will not magically fix it. Actually, Copilot will magnify the chaos. So what do you want to do? Now, Copilot doesn't guess. Copilot doesn't clean up for you. Copilot works with the data you give it, the structure you give it, the permissions you give it. So if the foundation is messy, the answers will be messy. So where does Copilot fit into all of this? Now think of Copilot as this incredibly smart assistant who joins your team, let's say tomorrow morning. Copilot can summarize your documents, create contents, surface hidden knowledge, and turns hours and hours of work into minutes. But keep in mind, Copilot can only do those things if your SharePoint is ready, if SharePoint is organized, if permissions are tidy, if content is labeled, structured, and secure. Then Copilot becomes transformational. It becomes that partner that helps you move faster, think clearer, and work smarter. But again, what if SharePoint is sending you red flags? Copilot will simply expose them. Why? Because if your permissions are wrong, Copilot may expose the wrong information. If your structure is broken, Copilot might retrieve outdated content. If your data is disorganized, Copilot may give you incomplete or even contradictory answers. I'm sure you came across that pretty much every single day when you use Copilot. So again, Copilot is powerful, but it is not a magician. One of the most important ideas to understand in this, Copilot doesn't replace good information architecture. It relies on it, and Copilot acts as an amplifier. So again, if your content is structured, secure, and clean, Copilot becomes incredibly helpful. And if your environment is messy, disorganized, or confusing, like I said before, Copilot will surface those problems instead of fixing them. Again, in other words, AI is only as smart as the environment it's working in. A phrase that I like to say, maybe you could share, keep in mind, a good SharePoint design makes Copilot shine. A good foundation leads to great results. A bad foundation leads to big risks. So, how do we turn those red flags into green flags? Well, you don't fix SharePoint in one day. You can fix it with a clear, deliberate approach. Start with governance. That defines how sites are created, named, and managed. Governance often sounds like a boring word. It is, it sounds boring, but it's actually the foundation for everything. Good governance is what ensures sites and created intentionally. Content is organized predictably and permissions remain secure as your organization grows. And with Copilot entering the picture, governance becomes even more essential. Without it, AI can't understand your content, can't classify it or summarize it reliably. Governance isn't a limitation. It's the key that unlocks the full value of AI. So what we need to do, we also need to build a strong information architecture. Use metadata, not chaos. Create structure, not folders nested in 12 layers deep and folders. Clean up the permissions, reset them, document them, secure them, archive what's old, delete what's irrelevant, label only what matters. And once that foundation is strong, only then you invite Copilot in. That is when you start unlocking its full potential. So let's a bit return to our original question. Is your SharePoint the one? Is it giving you green flags, clarity, structure, and trust, as I said initially? Or is it showing the red flags, confusion, inconsistency, chaos? Because with Copilot becoming the engine of modern work, your SharePoint environment is no longer just a storage area or storage space. It's the brain of your organization. If that brain is clean, Copilot makes you look brilliant. But if that brain is messy, Copilot makes the mess even more visible. So today I challenge all of us just to take a good look at our SharePoint, not to judge it, but to understand it, to fix what's broken, to strengthen what's working, and to prepare it for the AI-powered future that's already here. We are already entering a new era where SharePoint is far more than a document library. Especially with the integration of AI and Copilot, SharePoint evolves into a knowledge engine, something that we can answer questions, surface insights, and connect with people all over the world to all the information instantly. But that future depends on the choices we make today. So if we prepare our SharePoint environment now, we can actually position ourselves to take full advantage of intelligent tools that actually will shape the workplace for years to come. So let's turn red flags into green flags. Let's make SharePoint the partner we always needed. And especially let's make sure that when Copilot arrives, we are truly confidentially ready. So I would like to invite anyone else if for any questions, you can easily contact us at our website. I'm sure Natasha will now lead with anybody has some live questions.
Thank you, Tony. That was great. So basically what you're saying is we need to spring clean our SharePoint. So it's rather fitting for this time of year.
Actually, that is the truth. Again, we don't want a messy area because the messier it is, Copilot will just make it even more messier.
Yes,
So it has to
exactly.
be as clean as possible. Clean up the permissions, as I said,
Yeah.
secure them.
Exactly. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. So if you don't have any questions, please, if you do have any later on or anything, please just let us know. We'd be happy to answer them then. If you did want a free SharePoint audit, then again, please contact us. My email is natasha.waldron@101solutions.co.uk. But if not, thank you so much, Tony. That was really interesting. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. See you on the next one.